Hey guys, I just thought I would make this short video in which I am showing you at least my approach to how I'm going about trying to propagate some of my succulents, which you can see just down this way. So yeah, if you're keen on it, join me and I'll show you what I'm up to. Let's check it out. So I had these succulents and I had bought them in January and raised them up, enjoyed watching them grow and develop color and develop in terms of shape and size. It was really nice to have some succulents indoors to provide a little bit of beauty while it was still -20, freezing cold, and snow on the ground outside. And yeah, it was therapeutic in that regard. But one thing I noticed was things sort of got a little bit leggy and they started to reach and strain for the light and get tall and weak and just super flimsy, which is a consequence of me not giving them enough light. And so they never really recovered from that bad start. For the first couple of months I had them in various locations. I had them under some grow lights. I tried to give them some natural ambient light. The air plant did fine. Air plants can tolerate kind of more ambient light or more diffuse light, indirect light, that kind of thing. But with the rest of the succulents, they all seemed to kind of suffer, and I could tell that they could have stood to have received a lot more direct light and just been closer to the light source that I had for them. Because I did bring them under some grow lights, but I probably just had them too far away, honestly, and they weren't getting enough lumens. Not that I ever really looked that up for what succulents need, but that's my diagnosis as to what I think went wrong. And yeah, like I said, they never really recovered from that. So early spring, I started to kind of bring them outside during the day. In April, you know, if it was a sunny day, I'd take them inside for the night just to kind of, you know, we were still getting frost and everything, so I wanted to provide them with a little bit of protection. And I was thinking having that direct sun exposure and having those nice long days of sunlight, being out in the outdoors, it might sort of help encourage them to grow horizontally and bulk up and kind of strengthen their stems so they had a bit more stability to the plant. But especially with some of the individuals, none of that really happened. And basically what happened instead was they just kept getting leggier and leggier in some cases. So, you know, I took some skewers and different methods to try and stake them and help prevent them from flopping over. But again, it doesn't really encourage a plant to provide its own source of strength, right? And so when the wind would pick up, sometimes they'd flop the other way, fall over. So it's just kind of rough, and I was looking at them hoping that I could get them to make a turnaround, but they never did. However, having said all that, it may have turned out to be a blessing in disguise. I don't know for sure, but I do know it provided this opportunity to try and propagate my succulents and see if I can have a whole big collection of them, you know, and get multiple little babies coming off of those mother plants that I bought over the winter. I noticed a lot of the succulents, even the ones that were legging out, and it could be because of the legginess. I don't know if the plant maybe gets a little bit stressed and says, okay, I need to start producing, you know, offshoots and everything. But I did notice that a lot of them had little offshoots growing off in all different directions. Some of them had a whole bunch. And so eventually I thought, oh, I'll look up how to propagate, which brought me to today's video and today's undertaking. And so, yeah, I did a little bit of digging and I found out that succulents are actually really easy to propagate. You basically can propagate from a cutting, even from a leaf apparently, although I didn't try that this time around. But basically you can just cut them either at the stem, cut a leaf off, or just remove the young plant that's growing off the side, remove all those, and just let a callus develop for a little while. You leave them out for about a week based on the article that I read, and just let that spot where you cut it, if you did end up you know, snipping it off at the stem, just let that dry out, let it develop a callus before you do anything else. And actually some people just put them straight on top of a bunch of cactus soil and just let it sit there. Other people encouraged watering, and then there was one article I read just this morning actually that said you can even leave these things out and let them develop roots before you go and plant them, which would be a really interesting future experiment. I kind of found that out after doing all of the propagating activity this go round, so it's something to keep in mind for the future, but we'll see how this round goes and see if I can get some new succulents to take root and develop and grow in the months to come here. So for my soil mix, I did it myself. I just took some sand, some pea gravel, and some Pro Mix potting mix. Kind of a pretty well balanced potting mix, kind of for your flowers and whatnot. Perhaps houseplants and perennials as well. But anyhow, I mixed 1/3 part sand, 1/3 part pea gravel, and 1/3 part Pro Mix. Made that into a soil mix, mixed it thoroughly, and that was what I used to fill all of my little containers and prepare it to receive the succulents that had developed a callus. Well, after about a week, the succulents had developed a pretty good callus, and I thought it was time to bring them over and pot them up. So here you can see I'm filling pots with my cactus and succulent soil mix that I made myself. And then I'm just taking each individual succulent and placing it in the soil mixture. Some of them I had to stabilize a little bit, and yeah, that's kind of all there is to it. I just took each individual cutting. Some of them were big, others were smaller, and put them in an appropriate size container for the time being. And after all this is done, it's kind of just a waiting game to keep it under light, give it what it needs in terms of the right conditions to help encourage and foster root development, and just wait and see. So I'm quite interested to see how these take. Now, I did give everything a misting. I gave the soil a misting, and I actually took a little plant pitcher and gave everything a water. Not too generous of a water, but we'll see. I mean, the soil is quite well draining, and it is kind of a drier cactus soil, but that step may not have been necessary, but I did do it. So I'll be keeping an eye on whether that water helps or hinders things, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this is exciting. I've got a lot of different colors and textures involved in the array of succulents that I have in my collection and that I'm propagating, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they come along in the days and weeks to come. So stick with me. I should be able to give you guys some updates on where things are at. It's just a question of time. But I'm thinking probably in a couple weeks we'll have seen some progress, and it'll be time to check in with them again. And definitely stay tuned for more outdoor gardening updates. I'm going to try and keep producing videos and keep improving the quality of them, so feel free to drop a comment, give me some feedback, let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, give it a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. But yeah, thanks for watching, and thank you for the support. Alright, so that's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed watching that. I hope it was informative for you, and we'll see if I can get a whole bunch of young, thriving succulents off the original ones that I bought and then proceeded to propagate this year. So we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy gardening. Bye for now.